So, welcome back to the More Than Logic podcast, where we connect you with entrepreneurs of all different levels. So now, if you are thinking real estate or properties, commercial, anything, today we've got one of the greats. To me, I would say the greats of Namibia. More so because I really like how you do your marketing, how you're so out there, and you don't even realize it. So yeah, perfect. I will give you an opportunity to introduce yourself now, Andreya. And yes, now.
I'm Andreya from Andreya Pereira Properties. I've been in the industry since 2011. And yes, I love what I do. That's why I do what I do.
2011?
Yes.
Wow. Because if I think back to it, would you say, do you get a lot of people that always ask you, I know this face from somewhere?
Yes. Like it happened just now, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
And why do you think that is? What have you done pretty well in terms of marketing that has worked for you now? So just for everyone to know, Andreya Pereira Properties, they do real estate, residential, commercial as well?
As well, and
Commercial.
farmland as well, yes.
And farmland as well. And over the years, you've rented out and sold, if I had to put that in a ballpark, I think at least a couple of hundred properties.
Yes.
Yes, that's quite a lot of properties going in through. So you'll be hearing about those experiences and what she has to share from everything she's learned, some secrets. Yeah. So yeah, what do you think you've done well in terms of marketing that has helped you in sales?
Like I've told you before, I'm very shy and I'm actually not a limelight person at all.
Yeah.
And I think it was my coach that trains us from South Africa, Francois Leroux. He was the one that told me, I think it was about a year, 2 years ago, where he told me, Andreya, it's time to put a face to your name. Because I never put my face to my name. It was Andreya Pereira Properties, so most people knew the name, they didn't know the face. So whenever you go anywhere and everyone, you introduce yourself, they go, oh, so you're Andreya. Yeah, so now my face is out there, it's on the boards, it's on my Facebook page and everything. So I think that makes a difference because people know who they're talking to.
Yeah, it's like there on every poster,
Yes.
if I go on your social media, Andreya.
Yeah.
So no, that's good. What would you say what made you transition to real estate?
I've always loved properties.
Okay.
So whenever we went on holiday, even in Swakop, if there was a show house, I used to bug my sisters to go and have a look at the house. And they used to tell me, we're on holiday, why we want to go have a look at houses that we're not interested in buying? So I've always liked properties. I like seeing how the architect designed this house and why did he do what he did. Sometimes, it's not the best property, but you get ideas on how to change it. So yes, I love properties and I like getting the person there forever home.
So you've done renovations as well?
We give ideas to clients,
okay.
and if we need to, then we'll try to help them with the decoration. We've done that part as well, decorating a house. We even go as far as cleaning up houses before we take photos, and and things like that. Yes, and that the cleaning up you do quickly while you're there taking photos.
Yeah.
So in the end of the day, I love properties. I love houses. I love seeing how they were put together.
Yeah, no, that's lovely. Yeah. Good. Just want to double check with Victoria. Is the audio good?
Yeah, the audio is good.
Okay.
But I'd like to see how this mic is covering your face.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's actually.
You're a natural. Yeah. So, real estate. You also told us to clean our property when you left. I think.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the way I see it. With a car. It's quite surprising how much more you can get out of it when it's clean versus when it has a few dirty marks and all that.
Is
it the same with the house?
It is. Everyone concentrates on the dirt and they don't actually have a look at the houses. I remember many years ago I had a property in Ludwigsdorf that was in the market for 5.2. Beautiful property on a perfect piece of land. But no one bought it because of the dirt. The people allowed the kids to do whatever they wanted on the property. If the kids wanted to write on the walls, it was fine. But the clients were not buying it because they were concentrated on that and not what the property was offering. So until I found a client that I told her, please look past everything and look at the property itself. And she was able to do that, and she bought it immediately. But if your house is not, cleaned up, and people can't see past that.
Yeah. Okay. What's like a pet peeve or something that you really don't like when you're looking at properties? Because for me, for example, I lived for a year in Swakopmund, and when I went to look at properties, for me the first thing I always look at is the bathroom. The bathroom,
And your kitchen.
Then the kitchen, then
Yes.
the kitchen. Yes, true. Is it the same with most of your clients? Is it the same for you as well?
It is, because that's where the hygiene comes in. If that's not in place, no one can see past that. If you have plates and cups, spread all over, food all over the counters, again, people cannot see past that. That is what they concentrate on, and they don't see, what the house offers or what the kitchen offers. They concentrate on the dirt. So for me, yes, your kitchen and your bathroom for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So now, you've started in real estate 2011.
Yes.
How has the journey been? That's about 13 years.
Yeah.
Yes, if my math is correct.
Yes, 13 years, yes.
And I think you've built your brand quite well. Your reputation, I would say, is quite good. Yeah. Being that I'm in the marketing industry, and it's very nice that you can sort of. The one thing I've noticed is whenever I see your face on the posters or the Andreya Pereira properties logo and everything, it's always associated with almost like middle class to higher class properties in most cases, and which is I don't know if you sell also low income.
We sell everything.
We sell everything.
Yeah, we sell everything. Yeah. Yes, the Savannah, my niece, she was actually the one that designed my latest boards and my logo and everything. So she designed my latest boards. Yeah. And I think most people, because the other day I got a new listing in Kleine Cooper. Yeah. And the client told me, I didn't know you would look at properties like this. So I look at all properties. I sell everywhere. Doesn't matter if it's in Simbabazia, if it's in Commersdal. I sell everywhere.
Have you sold some in
money's money
as well?
Yes, money is money. I mean, you don't turn away from money. So I sell money's money. So, I mean, doesn't matter where the property is, if it's a 10 million or 500,000 rand property, money's money. So you sell what you get.
Okay, no, that's lovely. I love that mentality. At the end of the day, you still gotta get the money through, the cash flow through. And so, what has been the most difficult part about getting into real estate for you over these last 13 years?
When I started with real estate, I was actually up against a very strong, or a couple of them, like Sylvie McTeer and Stefan Lofty-Eaton back then. He had his own company, and Alma Esterhazen and all that. So I was up against all these people. So when I started, the person that gave me the course, he actually told me, Andreya, don't go on your own. Go out and go work for somebody. Go still with your ears and your eyes, and then you create your own company. And I said, no. If I cannot do this on my own, then I cannot do it at all. So I started on my own. And I worked hard, very hard. And I think, after a couple of months, I gave those companies something to talk about, because I was attending the same bank functions as they were. I was attending the same invitations they were, because I was invited. Yeah. And not because I asked the banks to be invited. I was invited by them, and I think I made a noise. And from there, they respected me, I respected them, and I got a lot of help from the older estate agents like Hilda Lowe, from Sylvie McTeer. I got a lot of help from them. So when I was stuck, I used to phone Alma Esterhazen, and Alma, I'm sitting in a situation, and they actually helped me. So I must give them, credit for assisting a newbie. And today, I'm basically the same level as them. And yes, they assisted me when I needed.
Yeah, I love that. Do you use that same mentality when new people come to you as well, looking for help?
I do, and from other agencies as well. So I've got a lot of people that phone me to work on my properties, and when they are with me, they do ask me for advice, and I'm straightforward. I mean, I think there's enough business for everyone, and
there's enough business for everyone.
Yes, and there's enough sun to shine on all of us. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. So what are you looking at, or what are you hoping to achieve in the next 3-5 years? Are you even thinking that far?
3-5 years. Well, I told you that my daughters also joined me, my sister's with me, and I think I've got a nice team now. Claudio, I've actually got 2 Claudios working for me, so we've got a nice team. So I think in a couple of years we're going to be one of the, if not the top agency. That's what we're aiming for. Yes,
I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, I can help out wherever I can, because I think one thing I always speak about on this podcast is that I wish to see more local businesses also moving internationally. Do you ever see yourself doing that? Because I've noticed you also have some properties you've done out of Namibia. I think, is it Portugal?
Yes.
Yeah, Portugal, for example.
Yeah.
And how do you see that play? How do you see a work around that?
Look, I've got clients that have bought properties from me in Portugal already. I've got agents who I work with over there. So if they're looking for something, I've got my agents that I contact on that side. So I've assisted people. I've actually gone out to Portugal to go have a look at the properties and actually do all the paperwork for my clients as well. So yes, I've done that. I don't know if I would move to Portugal and do it because I think here in Namibia, we've got the benefit everyone knows you. Yeah. So everyone knows who Andreya Pereira properties, right move and all. We know the people. So over there, I'll be a newbie. Yeah. And I'll have to start from scratch. So yes, but I do international already from Namibia, and I love Namibia, so I wouldn't leave.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I've assisted clients buying property in Cape Town, so yeah.
Do you get a lot of foreign clients that also want to buy in Namibia?
Yes, indeed, yeah.
How's that market looking?
It's starting to pick up again. Look, we had a lot of Angolans back then, but that has died down. It's starting to pick up slowly, but they're struggling to get the money in. Okay. So they need a couple of months before the funds are here to be able to look at properties and all. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, okay, interesting. A lot of, they always have to get the money checked and then, do the, what's it called?
The fear.
Investigation. Where are you getting this money? How can you afford a property in Namibia? That's a bit sketchy. Stuff like that.
Actually not. It sounds more complicated than that, but you can get around with the fear if they can tell you that the money is coming from the company and they give you registration forms of the company, how long they've been in business and everything. Then you'll be okay. So it's only if you walk into Namibia with a bag full of cash and you put it on the table, I want to buy a property, then you'll be questioned. Yeah. But if your funding comes from, your business somewhere else, then you'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You'll be fine. And so I think now I'm actually just using questions that I want to know for myself rather than what I wrote here. So let's talk a little bit about debt. You've taken out loans before, right?
Yes.
For real estate.
Yeah.
I already asked you a question before, and someone that's starting from zero. So listening to what you've said, I've noticed that I'm assuming that if someone was starting from zero in real estate, you probably would tell them, maybe don't go get a property straight away.
Depends on what your situation is. I mean, if you can afford the property and still be able to live comfortably, then yes, by all means, go and get. But if you're going to kill yourself in paying a property just to have a property and not being able to live, then I would say no. Yeah. So you have to balance. You have to have a balance between the two. That's why a lot of people are already selling their properties, because they say they're killing themselves paying a bond every month, and they can't even take a holiday with a family. So they're selling to rent, because rent is way cheaper, and then they still have a life. So if you are in a position where you are able to afford a property and still, rent it out, you're comfortable where you are, then by all means, yes. Then I would say go for it. Get yourself a property, put it on Airbnb, do whatever needs, then yes.
Yeah, okay. Interestingly, so another thing I want to ask about is, because I've heard of how you can also sell, for example, contracts to real estate agencies and agents without needing to have a real estate qualification. Is that something that's possible? Like, for example, let's say I have friends that want to sell properties. Yeah. Then I get the sale contract from them and then go sell that contract to you can't do that.
No, you can't do that. Not in Namibia. It's actually the Namibian State Agent Board has actually prohibited agents paying commission to non-agents. Okay. So if you're a non-agent and you're giving me a referral, I'm not even allowed to give you a referral fee. So there's a lot of agents that are doing that behind the books, but if they get caught, their license can be taken away. So you cannot do that. You cannot give somebody commission if you're not an agent.
Okay.
So I even had somebody that lost his commission because the lawyer was supposed to give him his commission, and he couldn't supply his Fidelity Fund certificate.
Crazy.
And they told me that they were agents.
Yeah.
So they basically lost the commission due to that.
Crazy. But my friend can pay me.
Your friend can do whatever he wants.
Interesting. Loopholes,
Yeah.
loopholes.
Yes,
Okay,
no.
let's skip loopholes before any of us get arrested or audited
Yeah.
or funny stuff like that. And so what core values or philosophies have guided you throughout your career in real estate and your personal life in general?
My father always said, your name is the only thing you have in life.
Wow.
So you have to uphold your name. And whatever you do, you must make sure that you do, with your head held up high. So for me, it's the service I give to my clients. I want to know that when I walk away from you, you're going to refer me to your friend, your neighbor, to whoever, because of the service I gave you. So for me, that's extremely important. It's my name, and how I spread it out there and how I maintain it out there. Yeah.
It's quite interesting that you say that because do you listen to Warren Buffett or
No.
read about him? So Warren Buffett has this saying where he goes, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to destroy it.
Exactly.
And that's one thing I've also been trying myself to really hold dear in my heart, because I've noticed when it comes to business as well, when you treat people fairly, you don't have to be very good at business sometimes. Just treat people fairly, always look out for their best
Honest.
interests, always be willing to help
Yeah.
them out before you even speak of pricing or whatever it is. Just treat them like human beings that you really want to help. It's crazy what happens for
Honesty
you as well.
and have that connection with the person that you are working with. For me, that you get a lot of people that just to try to get business promise you the clients, the moon, the sun, the everything, and then it doesn't happen. And I try to be honest with my clients from the beginning. So I'm not going to overpromise something, and I'm not going to tell you I'll be able to do something that I can't. Although some people don't want to accept that part and they don't really like hearing it. And once they come back, they say, but you didn't do it. I said, no. If you go back to our conversations, you'll remember that I told you this and this and this, So I try to be honest with my clients and always upfront. So
Yeah, that's good. Speaking of that, what has been your weirdest encounter with a client or a potential client?
okay, my potential client, the weirdest encounter was, it was a client of mine that had a fight with his wife. The wife landed up in prison. I'm not going to mention names.
Crazy.
And he called me the next day to go to his house. He knew exactly who I was when I arrived there. And I actually arrived there with another agent that was working with me, and she was a newbie to the agency. So I go to his house and I ring the bell, and he tells me, who are you?
Yeah.
And I tell him, it's Andreya. And he opens the gate, but he's standing there with a shotgun pointing at us.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so the new agent came hiding behind me. I told her, no, it's fine, it's okay, he's not going to shoot us. And then when we went inside, the way he was explaining the fight between him and his wife, and his arms are flying all over, and he's like here in my face, and I'm against the wall. So so that was the weirdest encounter with the client.
Did you still make that sale?
We still worked with him, yes.
Business as usual.
Business as usual, yes. You get to know your clients.
I don't think, once people see a gun, we're out of there. How did you feel in that moment when
I
you
knew
saw the
I knew the past, and I knew the person I was dealing with, so I knew I wasn't in any danger.
Okay.
So for me, it was fine. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. Let's talk now about scammers, because there are a lot of them out there. I was on Facebook the other day just looking at flats that are being rented out and all that. Then I also came through some people renting out bachelor flats, and then I went in the comment sections. People were speaking a lot about, don't go with this one, he's a scammer. So it's crazy how often it's happening. tell me a little bit about that, and maybe somewhere you've been scammed as well yourself.
I haven't been scammed through real estate, but I had somebody that was doing it to clients.
Oh,
So what he did is he rented out one property 3 times to 3 different people. They paid him the deposit without a contract being signed. And then when they phoned him, when they rocked up to the house wasn't available to rent. The person opened up and said, I don't know what you're talking about. And then they phoned me and they said, yeah, but he said that...
through Andreya Properties?
Yes, through Andreya Properties. And then, the first time it happened, he gave me an excuse. So I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Because, he came from a corporate world. So I never thought that he would be somebody doing this. And then the second, third time happened, and then red flags started coming up. So he started telling the clients that my bookkeeper was not available to pay the deposits back. So he was blaming me now for him using the deposit money and not having it to pay it back. And then they started phoning me, and I told them, okay, number one, you never pay anything until you've got a signed contract. So that's number one. Number two, I got them all their money back and I fired him immediately. But the same person scammed my sister on Airbnb. He registered on Airbnb and with another client's property, and my sister actually paid him the deposit to rent the property for a couple of days, and the property wasn't available. And then after a while he came back, they double booked, and the property was never his to rent out.
He's really taking it in my blood very seriously.
Yeah.
Yes,
there's a lot of scammers out there. And I always tell clients, you don't pay deposits, you don't pay anything until you have a signed contract from both the lessee and the lessor. That is when you pay your deposit. And with the contract, you should have an idea of the lessor and, the lessee, everything should be there for you to pay a deposit. You don't just pay.
That's I think contracting is very important for almost every industry, because I think you can easily get scammed anywhere.
But I think for us that's in the industry, it makes sense, contract only and then you sign. But for somebody that's renting for the first time, they don't know how these things work. And if an agent's going to tell them, listen, if you don't pay now, the next client's going to get your property. You're going to pay to secure the property. But in the end of the day, you've got nothing signed with this person. So please never pay anything if you don't have your contract signed.
Of course. I think that makes a lot of sense as well. I think in terms of contracting, when setting up a contract, do you normally set up your own contracts?
We've got our own contracts. We've got different contracts for private sales, for CCs, for renting, for all those things,
And because I see sometimes when you do commercial real estate, for example, it's very different from residential. Residential, you can do like a 12-month contract, and then 6 months down the line, you can say, I don't want to live here anymore. Commercial, you can be on 3 years, and you don't like the property in 6 months, you're like, boss, it's just business.
Exactly.
So what's really this whole difference, and why is it like that?
Commercial property is, look, lately I can honestly say people don't really worry about contracts if they want to cancel. Obviously with commercial, the person's got more power to take the guy to court. So like for instance with your property, if the guy decides to leave in 3 months and I pay you, you're going to weigh your options out. Am I going to take him to court and pay 100,000 to a lawyer, or am I just going to replace the tenant and get it over and done with? So that is the only difference. So the manpower that you have behind you. So
technically the residential contract is also supposed to be for that
if you
long.
sign for 12 months, if it's in the contract stipulating that you may give a 3 months notice, then you can. But if you fix for 12 months and there's no exit clause, you're supposed to stay there for 12 months. So it's the same, just that a lot of people, I've had clients that left overnight. And when you go look for them, the key's at the security. So, and you get there, the house is broken down. So it happens, and you don't know where to go get them. And this has happened with a foreigner, So I don't even know where he works at the moment because, I don't know where to get them. So it happens. But corporate, it's happened with, if you rent out a warehouse, where the people pack up and leave in the middle of the night. You don't know where they are.
Yeah.
So it
No,
happens.
You have some
Yeah.
pretty interesting challenges on a
Yeah.
daily basis. Huh? I think someone should walk around with a camera, filming your life. Like, oh, what are we
I
doing
said I
today?
could write a book. Yes.
Are you going to
Yeah.
write a book?
No, I said I could.
You could?
With all the experiences we've had and everything that's happened to us, we could write a book.
I would read your book if you wrote a book,
Yeah.
like on real estate. Even, I think maybe, something maybe even based on, put some life in there, put some life advice as well.
Yeah.
I would read something like that. Would you write something?
Well, a friend of mine, he's also an agent, Yanni, we've actually thought of it because so many things happen to us, and a lot of people think, an agent just shows a house and gets the money. That's not how it works. I mean, we go through a lot to be able to make it work. And you don't just sell a house and tomorrow you get paid. I've been paid commission now of houses that I sold last year. So I sold the house in May last year, only got paid commission now.
Yo.
So there's a lot of things that
And they had the money already. The transaction was done.
No, everything was hanging, but it's not your fault that it's hanging.
Yeah.
It's due to the seller or something that's wrong with the compliance. So you also still have to wait.
Yeah.
Although they're assisting throughout the whole year.
You have to fake smile.
Yes, you're assisting in everything, and then you earn your commission. So it's not only show a house, get it paid, and walk out, and smiling. No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. But you should definitely write a book. I would read about it. It could be something like...
There's a lot of comedy. There's a lot of,
Mission Real Estate.
Yes.
Like Mission Impossible.
Exactly, yeah.
Like that. You already know what this is. 100,000 followers on YouTube, this is what you get for it. So we already have the proof to show for our work. Now you want to start your podcast, video production, content creation, but you obviously don't want to waste your money. That's why you've got to work with a team that already knows what it's doing. Find us at Pro Studio. You already know it for yourself. This is hard work. See you then. Yeah. So let's go a bit more into your personal life. Would you consider yourself an ambitious woman?
Always have been.
Always have been.
Yes.
And how does that affect the relationships around you? Because I'm actually curious to know how that has affected you in the dating pool. Because I see a lot of young ambitious girls as well. Obviously, you're from a different generation. But I find that with ambitious people, sometimes there is a tendency to look down on other people in the sense of that...
you think you're better than others.
You think you're better than other people, and you think you're deserving of a lot of things. And from my side, I would say, in reality, we don't really deserve anything. You get what you put in effort for.
Exactly.
And so like we spoke about Mark earlier. Mark Brinkman said in our conversation that sometimes it's also a thing of desires. People, we have desires. It's a natural thing, but desires can really affect your outlook on life, because sometimes just because you have strong desires, you think you deserve more, but rather what you're forgetting to do is look at your output. What are you actually doing to gain what you want to gain? And then when you quickly judge yourself on your output and your actions, you quickly realize you're not as great as you think you are. So that's what I want to know from your side, because you've had your few successes. And how has that affected your relationships? And how, if you have managed to stay humble and stay grounded, how have you done that? I think that would be beneficial for a lot of, I'd say especially a lot of ladies as well, since, we are talking to you.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm better than anyone else. And
Thank you for clarifying.
Yes, and I actually look up to a lot of other agents and people around me, that are doing well. Not only agents, but... friends that are out there and fighting for what they want. I like expensive stuff, so I work. So I'm not scared to put it out there. I like expensive stuff. So and I like the good things. So I work for what I have.
So you hear that? There's nothing wrong with liking expensive stuff.
No.
Just go get your own expensive stuff.
Exactly. Don't wait for husbands to pay it or anything. I don't. Everything that I have and work for, I go get myself. So I've always been the type of person that I'm a go-getter, and if somebody tells me you will not succeed, that is when I will show you that I will succeed.
Fired up.
And then I'm fired up and I will make it work. So I've always been like that with anything that I tackle. And like I told you before we started with the podcast, I'm have a very positive outlook on life, and I've got all these abundance and, you know, like sayings and everything. And in my dressing room, I've got everything written there. So I am great, I'm powerful, I'm all that. So I've got, and I believe that. And I believe it doesn't make me better than you, but I believe I'm powerful. I believe that I'm successful, and I believe all that. But I don't then go sit on my couch and wait for that to happen. I go and make it happen. So that's the difference. So a lot of people say all those things and have all those things, but then they're sitting at home waiting for the abundance to reach you. That's not how it works. You can say all that stuff, but you must still go, you know, be a go-getter. And I've always been like that. So from the beginning, I remember the first time I went to a bank function and I actually won an award, there was an agent from C sitting next to me, and he told me, and they didn't get anything, and I got an award, and he turned around and he said, how's that possible? We've been in the industry longer than you got an award. So I told him, okay, but what do you do? No, we sit in the office and we work the whole time. I don't do that. I'm out there. I go and do. I go and work. So I didn't sit. So he left CF and he came and worked with me. So, yes, and he actually today he's got his own company. He's doing very well, #home. So, and he's doing well in everything. So you have to go out there and you have to go and get what is yours. And like I said, I've got expensive taste, so I need to go and get what's mine. Yeah.
I love how you always put your outfits together. There's always like, interesting. Like the day when I went to show you the property, it was a nice outfit as well, and I like the shoes. These big heel shoes. You know, so your sense of style is very good. It's
Thank
very
you.
good. I think it probably helps a lot with the sales. Huh?
Yes, and my torn jeans and everyone asks me, "Are you really working like that?" I said, "Yes. My clients will feel sorry for me and they'll give me money, you know, so that I can buy proper jeans." So that's tough. Yeah,
strategy.
That's an attitude I have. I think if you dress modern and you know everything, then you also have more modern ideas to get your properties out there.
Yeah, I think an observation, you know, when you come wearing a suit or tuxedo to sell a property, one of two things can happen. It's because one thing I've also noticed when it comes to really like smart wear, you know, with suits and everything. Firstly, I'd like to say, I think normally that kind of actually also chases away the client a little bit. You know, it kind of puts them off. I don't know.
Especially the sellers. I mean, sometimes even when I arrive with my card, they forget that before I was an agent, I had different other jobs, you know, that I had good cars already. So when you arrive there with your BMW, they already look at your car and they think, this lady charges too much. But they forget where the car came from. I mean, it's not your first car, it's not your second car. You know, you've had cars before, you sell the one, you buy the other one. So they immediately think of that. And that's where the suit comes in. If they see you in a suit, they already think, okay, this person's going to charge me an arm and a leg, and they don't want to do business with you. So, yes, I walk around with my torn jeans, and, you know, hopefully people feel sorry for me and
you have to hide
appoint me.
your car
Hide your car around the corner and come there with your torn jeans.
Have you done that before?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. If they tell me anything about my car, then I tell them I do such a good job. That's why I'm able to afford what I have.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good.
Yeah.
It's a win-win. But now, so you've got an expensive taste. We've clarified that. Let's say you were starting from scratch. Now you're left with your last, let's say $50,000. Your last $50,000, or let's say even $100,000, $100,000 in your bank. This is the last thing you have. Right? You're starting again in real estate. Do you think? Are you also then disciplined enough to then say, you know, this is not the time to listen to my expensive taste and really say this is the time to put in the work? Have you ever had a situation like that?
Yeah, look, when I started with the real estate, like I say, I'm a very independent person. So although I do have a good life, you know, with my husband and everything, you know, he is able to support me. I've never been one. I mean, I've been working since the age of 16. Not that I needed to, but we had, you know, like weekend jobs that we worked on pharmacies, and so we've been used to working from a very early age. So I like and never asked my parents for anything after that. They bought us clothes and things, but never thereafter. So yes, if I had like 50,000, 100,000, yes, I can put my expensive taste, you know, to rest for a while. But I know what I do is I see something and I work towards it. So I'm not going to go buy it now already, but I'm going to go buy you. So I know I'm going to buy you, so I've got to go work to be able to buy you. So yes, I work hard. That's why I say in the beginning when I started, everyone laughed and, no man, she won't survive because here comes a new company with a new name, strong. And I worked my butt off to be able to be where I am. And now I can buy my expensive stuff.
That's good. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. So
I hope people tell you that.
Yeah. They do.
Yeah. Sometimes what an entrepreneur needs is just a hug and someone to say, keep going. Have you ever had a time where you doubted yourself and really felt low, what you would call maybe a low point, facing big challenges?
I think after COVID, where everything was at a standstill and everyone spoke about, interest rates that were going up and all that stuff. And I think we all get a fright. But you pick up your socks and you learn how to do things in a different way. And if you've been through something like that, then I think you set for a while. And
you realize how tough you are.
Exactly. You realize how tough you are and that you can get out of anything.
And during a time like COVID, would you say then for someone that's looking to invest in real estate, if you have the money, that's actually the perfect time to be buying?
Yes.
Yeah, because I've for example, one of the guys in the studio during COVID got a property worth 8 million for 2 million. It's like people are just selling to make a living. Of course, it is sad, but
you're basically benefiting through somebody else's disgrace. So we've had a lot of properties that were selling like 1 million, 2 million below valuation, and people were buying it. We had, I think, apartments that clients bought for 1.2 that people were buying now for 550. So yes, that was a great time. And straight after COVID, interest rates were low. So people were pocketing.
Should have bought something during COVID, but then I was too young to even think about such stress, And we've spoken about lots of various topics. Let's go to some business strategy, and how do you stay ahead of trends and adapt to changes in the real estate markets? I know, of course, you don't want to share all your secrets, but what's something that works for you that you think would be good to try if you wanted to get into real estate?
Honestly speaking, look, you get agents that are on other people's property pages and see what they're doing different and that I don't. I try not to go onto anybody else's page. So to tell you honestly, I don't know if I'm doing better in marketing than anybody else. So I concentrate on what I know and how, what I know best, and I try to get that to do a little bit better. But I think we were one of the first agents to start with Facebook marketing. Where everyone was still marketing on property news and all that stuff. We were one of the first agents to do Facebook marketing. So from there, everyone jumped on the bandwagon. And I think, from there's not much different except the way you advertise, your pamphlets that you get out and all that. But there's not much. I don't concentrate on anybody else. So I try to better what I do, to do what I do better every day and not concentrate on anyone else.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that so much. It's you're basically saying, okay, what I hear from that is like, winners focus on the goal and losers focus on the winners.
Yes, because there was a stage, and I'll be honest with you, there was a stage where I was like looking at everyone else's pages, and then you see this one sold this and that one sold that, and you lose focus because you're more concentrated on what they are doing than what's in front of you. And then the day that I decided no more, concentrate on what you know you can do and just do that. And that's where my business started picking up again. And that's one thing I do. I do not look at anybody else's page. If I'm looking for property, if a client phones me and says, look, I saw this page, this property on this one's page, I want to work through you, please contact them. Then I'll go to your page and I'll say, listen, I saw you have this or whatever, can you assist? Or I'll phone you, do you have a property like this? But I don't sit and waste my time to look through other agents' properties.
Yeah, that's a very good approach. I think even I can learn something from that. And looking back on your career now, what are you most proud of? And what would you... Okay, let's first find out, what are you most proud of?
Okay, most proud of is coming from nothing and where everyone thought I would give up
Yeah.
within, like a month or two. And 13 years later, and I'm standing with the big guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
So, and I can proudly say that at every bank, I'm always consistent on stage.
Yeah.
So maybe not the top agent,
Yeah.
but I'm always there.
Yeah, I like going on your social media every time there's a real estate award, and then I can see,
Yes.
oh yeah, Andrea.
Yeah.
Yes, that
So-
makes me so happy. And what would you do differently if given the chance?
Maybe I would have gone to work with somebody right in the beginning to steal with my eyes and ears. But, because, they were in the industry and I think they have that step ahead of you. So, which I could have maybe learned, but at that point in time, it didn't work for me. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for those answers. How has your perspective, would you say you've had to do a lot of leadership in real estate, being it that you have a small team, a sizable team now? Does a lot of leadership come into play?
Not really, because you can guide people and you can tell them and try to help them, but you can't teach hunger.
Yeah.
So
I love that,
that's the problem. You can tell everybody how to do their job, but you can't teach them hunger. So I try to, and I've got a policy that you work for me if you haven't sold something within 3 months or rented something out at least, then I'm not going to keep you on my team because at the moment you're costing me money. I'm paying your fidelity fund, I'm paying all the things, so you're costing me money and you're bringing nothing back.
So you have tried quite a few people using that tactic.
And that's what that's why I said to you before. I'm not here to manage anyone. I've been in the corporate field and I've been, managing staff members under. This you can't manage anyone.
Yeah.
You can teach them how to do it, but then thereafter they have to go out and get them.
Yeah.
I'm a person that I wake up in the morning, I go to gym, and I'm ready quickly, after gym, and I'm ready for whoever, phones me and says, listen, I need you here. And Romy, my daughter, I'm very tough on her, and I always tell her, you must be ready for, if a client phones you at 9 o'clock, I don't want to hear you still getting ready. You must be ready. So
Must go
you
with
must
your
be
pajamas.
Yes. So you must be ready. I've had agents that rocked up there in their pajamas and hair and I don't know what, and I just got out of bed. Please help the client, and I'll talk to you later. I'm not like that. So I wake up early, and I believe that if you've got a routine, you wake up, you go to gym, you get ready and everything, then you're ready for the day.
Yeah.
And my day ends whenever it ends. So I don't really have a time to say, okay, 5 o'clock I'm at home. Sometimes I am at home at 5, I've got nothing else to do. Sometimes I come home at 7:30.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's an interesting, because I had the same thing. I really love that you mentioned that, because I had a similar thing when I was starting out in marketing, because social media, you need to get clients and everything. And I have, for example, this one client, I think from the Hook restaurant, Rodrigo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Rodrigo
our
and Anna.
meetings
Yeah.
always happened after like 7 p.m. And I'll be like, I'm so tired. And when I started in the beginning, that at that point, we didn't have a car at home. The cars, I don't even remember what was happening at that point. But I remember for a good 2-3 months, there was no car. So every day, like not every day, it was happening maybe twice a week. At 6 p.m., I know I have to start my 30-minute walk to Grove Mall. We have our meeting, I wait, sometimes it's late, then I have to walk back again at like 8 for another 30 minutes, go back home, and then after I leave there, then after we had the meeting, then I have to plan based on what we did in the meeting, and then it's like,
And that's why you are where you are today.
I still have a long way to go, but
You still have a long way to go,
Yeah.
but there's many youngsters that are still there sleeping at this time of the day,
Okay,
and
yeah.
so, yeah.
yeah, okay, in comparison to my friends, I
Yes.
think, yeah, there has been some
Yeah.
benefits to those sacrifices.
Yeah.
I'll
I
definitely
believe
no
that you
doubt.
have to sacrifice something to be able to make it in this life.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I always teach my daughter. You don't depend on anyone. You don't depend on a man for anything.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you don't.
Yeah, of course.
Today, I think nowadays is if you're married for 20 or 30 years, it's like a miracle. Sometimes marriages last 5-6 years and
Yeah.
then it's over. So you cannot be dependent on a man. You have to be strong and stand on your own 2 feet. And you don't ask anybody for anything. You have to buy it yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I think for us guys, it's very easy to feel attacked by what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I will say it is a very valid point, because one thing also I've noticed is that, when you're dependent on the man, funding your life and everything, at some point he just wakes up one day and is like, you know what, I own this person.
Yes.
And
And
later on
that's-
when you want to leave, it's like, where are you going?
Yeah.
You spent 5 million of my money over the last 5 years. Where are you going?
Yeah.
Come back.
I mean, I'm not talking about you going to a restaurant and a man,
Of course,
pays,
yeah, for the-
picks up the bill and things like that. I'm
That's
not talking
different,
about that. But I believe we women want to be equal to men, so we have to be able to afford our own things. And I mean, if you are able to bring in the income, and especially, like I say, I spend on myself and I spend on good things, so my expensive taste. But that takes off from my husband. My husband can then concentrate on
Nice.
on other things. So it helps. I think it helps if you bring your own income and you don't have to depend on a man.
Yeah, that's good. I think, that's good, because the way I receive that would be that, everyone gets equal opportunity to
Yes.
show themselves, to really
Exactly.
do the work. In this sense, I think there's nothing wrong with equal opportunity, and also everyone is equally listened to in the relationship. Everyone
Exactly.
Equal
No one-
opportunity to give
Yeah.
an input, to share what your perspective is. It doesn't necessarily always mean that your input is the one that needs to be taken, but it's that everyone is given the chance to open the door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've got a strong personality, and
Yeah.
I think my daughter takes after me. So very strong personality, and I don't get told what to do. You can ask me,
Yeah.
and I'll listen, but I don't get told what to do. And my daughter's the same.
You have to say it
So
nicely.
yes, you have to ask nicely. So and I think that's where the independence comes in and all that. I respect my husband and I respect what he says, but I've got my own independence, and I believe that no one should be above me. We should be equals.
Yeah.
So
How would you say your respect is towards your husband? With that, I'm just curious, if you don't mind sharing. Like, how do you manage those dynamics with your husband? Do you think you guys do well in managing that?
Honestly, I've got the perfect relationship. I've got
that's
a
lovely, yeah.
weekend husband only. If I can say that. So there's no time for fights and things like that.
Yeah.
He's out of from Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
He's on the farm.
Yeah.
So he only comes on Friday, Sunday, Monday is back again. So
That's lovely.
there's no real time for fights or no real time for arguments.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's. I think sometimes a lot of arguments aren't even necessary. Anyway.
Yes.
It's like you eventually, with time, you probably learn how to communicate effectively
Exactly.
with each other.
And
So,
sometimes you have to just, let it pass.
Yeah.
And not say, for me, it's difficult because I'm a strong
Letting things
person.
go.
Yeah, letting things. But yes, you learn with age just to let it go.
Yeah, that's something I'm very curious about, because I think I noticed it as well. So I have this girl I'm seeing, for example. I see sometimes we have like a funny argument or a small debate about something. Then I come back 10 minutes later. I'm like, it doesn't even matter. Hi, come back.
Yes.
Everything is all goody good. We're fine
Yeah.
again. And I think if you're gonna have built a relationship with someone, I think it would be very important to have a very strong sense of forgiveness or letting go. It's like, not
Yeah, because
holding
most
on
of
to
the things that you fight about don't even make sense or matter. Like really,
Yeah.
it doesn't. So,
Yeah.
sometimes just something that triggered you at that point in time and then it blows up. So better to just let it slide.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Let's get into some philosophy. I hope you're not in a rush to go somewhere. I'll obviously make it short and sweet and very soon, because you're a busy person. But can you share a particular, no, you already did that. How do you balance the high pressure demands of running your agency and maintaining personal well-being and relationships?
I make time for my family, for sure. And when I'm like on weekends, I've learned throughout the years that people that phone you on weekends are tenants. So they can wait until Monday to phone me. They had the whole week to phone me.
Yeah.
So that they can wait until Monday to phone me. So I've learned that. And I believe if I'm at a function or whatever, my phone is always on silent. So that's why my phone hasn't rang. It's not off, it's on silent. So by the time I leave, I'm sure I've got 150 calls, but my phone is on silent. So that's one thing I've learned, is to put my phone on silent. It's on vibration. So I never miss a call from a client, and I always know when my phone is ringing because it vibrates. But when I'm busy with somebody, I can answer quickly on SMS, but then I put my phone away. So, and with my kids, I make sure that I've got time for them. I'm the one that takes them to extra classes. I go fetch them, except if I'm really stuck, then I, ask my sister to pick them up or something. But I try to be there for my family. And once a year, I take a whole month. I go on holiday, and then I concentrate on them.
That's
and
nice,
December, it's my family time.
It's your
Yeah.
family time. So
But-
you're really strict about that.
Yes, and when my son is on holiday, he's the only one that's on at school. When my son is on holiday, that's when I work the best because then I've got no worries.
Yeah.
Then I know he's at home or on the farm, and everything else has been taken care of. Then I graph.
Yeah. And how is having a family now and some children affected the way you show up in business and maybe your inspiration, your discipline to yourself? How has that been affected?
Obviously, you work for yourself and you work for your kids. I want to provide them with the luxuries that I have as well. I want to provide them as well. So I work twice as hard. But if you deal with clients that have kids, you can interact with the kids, you know how to work, and you know exactly what they need for their children.
Yeah.
But there's also sometimes where clients says, no, a house with stairs, never. My kids have always grown up with a triple story house and there's stairs. You just have to know how to manage, So you know how to deal with clients better if you have, you understand their needs and things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, lovely. I always love it when the audience can, when the episode ends, that they can leave with like real steps that they can take from the episode that they can implement in their lives. So firstly, before I get there, do you read?
No.
You don't read?
Do you know why I don't read? I've got Yanni Erasmus that used to work with me that's now #home. He reads a lot. He reads maybe 1 or 2 books a week. And he's got this habit to quote everything to me. So I don't need to read because I've got somebody that reads for me and then tells me the important thing. And then every time he reads something and he comes back to me and he tells me, oh, I read this. Then I tell him, Yanni, think nicely. Don't you think that's common sense? These people put it in the books, but if you actually go have a look, it's common sense. That's how life is all about. I said, but that's how I do my business. That's how I work anyway, because that's life. And then he goes, oh, true. So, like I said, I don't read. I've got somebody that reads for me.
That's very funny. I would say a similar thing with newspapers. I really don't like newspapers. With newspapers, you figure that if there's something really important, someone will tell you by 10 a.m. the next morning.
Yes.
So then you know it.
And why do you want to read all the negative? Rather look for the positive out there.
Yeah, funny propaganda. You don't read, but then I would ask, what are some of your traditions that you do on a daily basis that you think contributes to your successes?
My gym. I think I leave all my frustrations at the gym.
Yeah.
If a client upset me or if a deal's not going the way I want, I leave my frustrations at the gym.
Yeah.
And I think I've got a lot of things that I listen to that positive mindsets, and I may not read, but there's a lot of podcasts that I look at and, people that I, like on Instagram that I follow and things like that put me in a positive mindset, and I take quotes from them to...
You listen to podcasts?
Some of them, yes.
That's good.
Yeah. So, you listen, and Instagram, something's always coming up that gives you a positive outlook on life and how to take it forward.
No, that's good. That's good. And now back to real estate again. I want us to, by the time we leave this episode, to have like a sort of like a 5-10 step plan or whatever it is. Let's look at me. I am interested in real estate, right? First of all, would you say, I guess rental would be the way to go for most people starting. But let's say I've got 0 properties. I want to get my first property. Let's say in terms of money, I think most of our people, working class, young, let's say you've got maybe 250,000 in savings. How would you work around this?
Okay.
And you've got maybe a decent income. The average income in Namibia is like what, 15,000-30,000, I think. Yeah, let's say you're starting there, and I think your loan depends on that as well. let's say you're starting from something like that and I want to get into real
Okay,
estate.
so what I would do is I would suggest that you go see your bank and see what your approval is. So depending on what the bank thinks that you will be able to afford at that point in time, that you then go into something in that sector. So yeah, but I think the best advice I can give is go to a bank, see what they qualify you for.
Yeah.
It's only a pre-approval gives you a broad.
Yeah, and so the main thing in this scenario is that you want the property to still pay for itself while you're still working, maybe having your regular
Yes.
income, and then that loan you put it in a position where
But the
property
bank will
can
not look at it like that,
Yeah.
because the bank, when you go buy a property, they're not going to look at if you rent it out.
Yeah.
They're going to look if you can afford it, because
Yeah.
it could be that a month or two that it's going to stand still and you're going to have to be able to pay for it.
Yeah.
And apart from that, you always have, if you buy it in a complex, your body corporate, rates and taxes, all that. So the best is go get a pre-approval on what you can afford at that point in time. And then, yes, if you can, I would suggest buy a property that you can rent out that can pay for itself.
And you
And-
mentioned perhaps maybe Airbnb
Which
as
is
well.
a way better option.
Really?
Your return on
Yeah.
investment on a normal rental is not as good as Airbnb.
Do you have some Airbnbs that you rent out?
I do not do Airbnb. I supply the client the property, and they manage. There's a company in Namibia that actually does it, or most people do it themselves.
Which one are you, sir?
They were there at Freedom Plaza at the bottom.
Okay, then maybe it's not the one I'm thinking of, but I think there's a contact maybe I would like to connect you with afterwards. So yeah, but I think we would close off our episode now slowly. I would just ask you two last questions, I guess. First of all, how was the episode?
Okay,
You know.
like I told you when I arrived here, I don't like the spotlight. It was actually easier than I thought.
Oh, thank
And
you.
yes, because I'm not concentrated on
Yeah,
everything else
yeah.
that's going on around us. So yeah, you made it very easy to talk
Thank you
to.
so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Oh. No, that's good. That's good. You've been very easygoing. It's very doof, doof, doof. We've got what you need, and it's more of like a conversation. So I think that's also good. You're very I'll give you camera credit. You're actually quite easygoing on camera more than.
Because I'm concentrating here, not what's going on around. Yes.
Yeah, that's good. And then the last thing would be, if there's where do you see the entrepreneurship section in Namibia going, and what are you excited about in terms of, I guess, real estate and how it can maybe help build in the communities?
I think I'm very excited about it, because I think there's a lot of hungry people out there that are looking at the industry, and that want to make it. Yeah, it's basically you've got your pros and cons, because they make it so easy for you to get in a real estate license, and some people just do it part time and they mess up, the industry for everybody else that's been there for a long time, and really make a name for yourself. But I think if you look at the youngsters in Namibia, and they all like the good things in life, and I think they're hardworking, and I think we're going to get far.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship, yeah.
No, that's good. I love that.
Yeah.
And any last message you want to leave on our podcast before you? Yeah, me.
If you want a good real estate company, phone us at Andreya Pereira Properties. We'll assist you wherever we can.
Yeah, never miss the moment. Yeah, definitely. We'll link you in the description below. Yeah, we'll show you where you can find Andreya Pereira Properties. And from my side, very good service, very good team. I haven't met everyone, but I'm assuming very good team. And so far, everything is good. So please, thank you very much for watching the episode. And thank you once again for always listening to our podcast and sharing your experiences. Thank you. We'll see you again next week or next year. I don't know. We shall see. Thank you, Andreya.
Thank you.